There's been some breaking news that we need to share with you. President Trump has said that phase two of the China trade deal is unlikely at this point. Rick Newman, there's a lot we want to talk to you about today, including Joe Biden, as well as the potential for more stimulus checks. But we got to address this. How do we interpret this from the Trump administration?
Oh, I think it's hardly surprising to anybody who's been following this. I mean, the phase one deal is not really in place. And a lot of analysts think that that will basically fall apart by election day. I mean, what's going on here is back in late last year and then in January, China finally did say, OK, we will buy these additional agricultural products from the United States, energy products. But then COVID arrived and that threw everything off. And in the meanwhile, the entire relationship between the U.S. and China has been deteriorating. China passing this new security law for Hong Kong has been a big problem. Congress is looking into sanctions on that. So for all of these reasons, phase one is not even close to really being fulfilled. China is not buying nearly the portion of U.S. exports it said it would, and the relationship has been deteriorating. So I don't think it's any surprise that there will not be a phase two.
Okay, so do you expect Joe Biden to pick up on this announcement? And also just want to let you know that the Trump campaign has said they have delayed tomorrow's rally in New Hampshire for at least a week, possibly two.
With regard to Biden and China, it's an open question. Biden has not really outlined how he would be different from Trump, on China. So Biden is a traditionalist. I mean, he favors all the standard alliances that Trump in many ways has weakened, but he has not really come up with a policy yet on China. So I think the expectations of among people who follow China policy is that Biden probably at some point would repeal the Trump tariffs, but he wouldn't do it without getting something in return. So I interviewed one analyst on this recently, and he said, Trump's tariffs on Chinese imports, if Biden wins, are really a gift to Biden because he's giving Biden some leverage right out of the gate. So Biden can say, OK, China, here's what we would like from you. And in exchange, we will gradually reduce these tariffs because the tariffs are, the American businesses pay the tariffs and it is bad for those businesses. So Biden could reset on China. It's just not clear what he would actually want to do.
The president's been attacking Biden on his tax policies and different policies, saying our 401ks would suffer a fate worse than the movie Cats. I mean, that wasn't his quote, but the same kind of failure.
And are you going to quote from Cats, Adam?
I was the only person who ever saw the film. But here's the deal. Biden did yesterday say he'd raise the corporate tax rate 28%. Gary Cohn, by the way, who was part of the team that created tax reform, President Trump said, go there. It's OK, go to 28%. But he also said he would do away with shareholder capitalism. It seems as if he is playing into what President Trump is attacking him on.
Well, that's a slogan. What is shareholder capitalism? I mean, that's whatever you think it means. There's no strict definition there. So what Biden's obviously doing is he's positioning himself as a champion of the working class and the middle class. And he's going to hammer Trump for cutting business taxes as sharply as he did. And also for cutting personal income taxes on the wealthy. And he knows what he's doing. I mean, polls show that the Trump tax cuts are not popular. Many voters think that they were too generous to businesses and the wealthy. Biden's plan on taxes is well known. I mean, you and I see all these Wall Street notes flying through our email. The Biden tax plan, he wants to raise taxes, the tax rate from 21% back up to 28%. How much harm would that do? I mean, there's a lot of analysis saying this would take, S&P 500 earnings per share down, whatever the number is, $4 or whatever. And honestly, I think Wall Street at this point, based on that policy alone, has decided they can live with it. He would have to have a Democratic Senate in order to push the tax rate back up to 28%. That's probably a 50-50 proposition at best. And then even if it were to go up to 28%, it would still be lower than the 35% rate it was. And most businesses don't pay the 28% or the 21% anyway. They use tax breaks to get it down. So for most businesses, effectively, it would mean their tax rate would go up by a couple percentage points.
And finally, we know the Senate comes back July 20th. What are we looking for the next round of stimulus? It won't be as large, right?
I'm not sure. It could be pretty big. So the House Democrats won at least $1 trillion. Some are calling for $2 trillion in additional aid. This round would need to go to cities and states, which have these giant tax holes because their tax revenue is way down. They're going to have to lay off teachers and cops and firefighters if they don't get some extra funding. Republicans have tried to, show some fiscal restraint. I don't think that's going to last very long. We did get that strong jobs report from June with nearly 5 million jobs added. But I think the job numbers are going to look a lot worse in July, and we're already seeing some indications of that in the data because of everything we've been talking about, which is the rise in cases and the new shutdowns that are happening in many states in the South. So Congress is going to have about 2 weeks to pass some kind of stimulus plan before they go to August recess. They're going to do it. I think it's going to be in the order of $1 trillion, perhaps a little bit more than that.